Hey, what's up, guys? Ken here from the Retro Toy Escapades channel in Malaysia. So, we had some big news announcements yesterday with the reveal of Silverhawks Wave 3 from Super 7's Ultimates series. Now, we've got 4 figures in this wave, which consists of Commander Stargazer, Mumbo Jumbo, Hot Wing, and Molecular. Now, obviously, I'm very excited when I see photos like these, photos of retro properties. You know, when they're modernized to such a degree, these photos look amazing. But here's the thing. I recall that this Super 7 Silverhawks Ultimate series has been making the rounds as of a couple of months. And the thing is that, okay, when it comes to this particular scale, first of all, I don't actually collect it because, well, frankly, it's a little bit too cost prohibitive, especially here in Malaysia. These have to go through some kind of special hobby stores. And the prices, I think that whatever you're paying for it over in America or in the rest of the world, by the time it gets down here to Malaysia, the price inflates. Understandably so, because hobby stores probably have to go through all kinds of channels to get the figures for themselves. It's just not a convenient line for me to collect personally. I would love to, but I believe that the high price points on these are putting off a lot of collectors. However, I was looking out for reviews of these, because I've seen the photos making the rounds as of like last year, right? I remember this shot right here of the Monstar figure standing next to Quicksilver, and it just looks so freaking monstrous. And I remember this was when I saw this image, I probably thought to myself, I remember thinking that if I do happen to get any of these Super 7 Silverhawks figures, it'll probably just be these two, right? Like, I absolutely need to get maybe just these two for the collection. And it dawned on me that a lot of stuff has happened over the last couple of months. I wasn't really keeping track on these particular waves. But off and on, I do remember sort of like thinking to myself that, hey, are they going to be like reviews of these figures? Because something must have come out by now, right? And then I remember that there was more news announcements of later waves. Like, I think Wave 2 had Monstar with the throne and stuff like that. And when these photos of Wave 3 hit online yesterday, I went back on YouTube and started to look around for reviews of the previous waves, the figures that I saw, pictures of and stuff like that. And I thought that, hey, somebody must have reviewed it, right? I mean, there's got to be people that's pre-ordered the stuff, right? And then I realized that actually there's all this communication going on about how none of these waves have actually even hit, okay? And it dawned on me that apparently it dawned on me, because I don't really collect Super 7 stuff, but it dawned on me that all these amazing photos that I've been looking at all this time, not just probably not just of the Silverhawks, but also other photos that I've seen, like Ninja Turtles and the G.I. Joe classified stuff. There's been some like really amazing photos that I've seen. All of them appear to come in this same sort of like large window box with like 100 accessories thrown in there with the figure, and apparently none of these have been released, so that came as a shock to me. Right? But well, I suppose that this is a company that's planning very much in advance. All right, they have a full slate sort of like in the planning stages or in various stages of development and production. So hey, who knows, by the time this video hits, maybe there's a news announcement that goes out that Wave 1 is shipping. But in the meantime, we've got these photos of Wave 3 to look at, and I decided to do a video of it because I kind of wanted to talk about this stuff. All right, I mean, I do want to cover retro news as much as possible on the channel, and I do hope that there are Silverhawks fans out there that want to listen to this content. I have done a lot of Silverhawks reviews on the channel, but of the vintage line. So hey, join me if you're tuning in. Thank you, and let's get to it. Okay, first up, and probably the most exciting figure in this particular wave, is Hot Wing. Every time I think about the name Hot Wing, I always think of something that you have as an appetizer, maybe at TGI Fridays or Chili's. But yeah, Hot Wing was always one of those really harder to find figures from the original series, because he kind of turned up in the second wave, and the second wave is insanely hard to locate today. I actually came across a Hot Wing figurine in my earlier days of collecting. I think it was incomplete. I don't have him anymore because I think he was traded for something else. I was always hoping to get upgrade, a better, more complete version of him. That somehow never happened, right? But it's great to see him back here, and let's check out what he comes with. As expected, he's got a ton of accessories here, and the window box just looks great, right? Everything is just laid out really neatly and organized. I like how this turned out. Of course, this is just an image that it could just be a Photoshop image. Maybe it's not even the actual finalized product, because nobody's actually had the final product in their hands yet. But I do hope that when it actually does turn up, it does turn out looking like this, because this window box packaging is just, it's just gorgeous. And looking at the accessories that he comes with, hands, he's got tons of hands, right? That's right. It's become a common thing with any figure that's in the Ultimate brand, or just anything, like even with the He-Man Masterverse figures, anything that's just a little bit more premium, you gotta have additional hands. And then we see here that he's got alternate shoulders. With the wings, right? So apparently you got to swap them out. You got to swap out the arms that he currently has, and pop on the ones with the wings. So these aren't like the vintage figures where you can just kind of like just click the figures together and the wings snap out in action. No, it's not one of those things. We have his weapon bird companion Gyro. Gyro's looking pretty just kind of chilled out there. He's just not in an action position or anything like that. It just looks like a bird that's supposed to just perch on your hand or something like that. Some blast effects, and he's got actually in total 3 head sculpts, one with the visor down, and 2 that look like he's in various stages of looking pissed off. All right, just like stern and sterner, right? All in, you definitely need Hot Wing. I would say Hot Wing's an essential purchase if you're trying to complete your overall Silverhawks theme. And seeing him here, I think that it's just a matter of time before we're going to get other more obscure Silverhawks characters like Moonstriker. So yeah, let me know what you think of Hot Wing here in the comments section. Next up, we've got Molecular. Now, Molecular, actually, I just did a review of the vintage figure on the channel, like just a short few months ago. I mean, it's there. Just look for it, guys. Check it out. Yeah, give an old video some life again. And, there's something about this figure. I revisited him in the review, and the original figure came with interchangeable parts. You could, like, snap him apart and sort of like build him into like different configurations, kind of like with something like Moduloc from Masters of the Universe. Now, Molecular is just not one of those figures that I think is particularly awesome. He's kind of weird. Even the vintage figure is kind of weird. And this new version of him, the updated version of him here, based on a classic cartoon, he's still looking weird. By the way, I like how the boxes on the bad guys have this sort of a red theme to them, while the boxes on the good guys have a blue theme to them. Yeah. Anyway, the thing with Molecular is that, I mentioned this in my vintage review as well, is that he just always strikes me as some sort of a cabbage man. Like he's like made out of cabbages. Okay. Like evil cabbages. You know what I mean? This is like the way that his entire body is covered like in these rounded sort of like bubbles, I mean, it just reminds me of cabbages, or like somebody in the comment section said like a bag of peas. Yeah. So anyway, he comes with 3 alternate hits, as you can see here, and I kind of think that the hits don't really have that much of a range of emotion. One of it, the main one here in the photo, is just like neutral. He's kind of like just looking angry, and then there's one where he looks like angrier, and in fact it's not like the sculpt is that much angrier. They just sort of like tweaked the eyes and the mouth a little bit to give it a little bit more definition. I don't know. Okay. Then we have one where he's looking just like evil and mischievous. That's probably a better sculpt, all right, compared to the angrier head that we have here. He's got like a bunch of accessories for his hands, and then we've got this weapon bird companion Vulture. Okay, also looking very very static, just chilling there, right? Just like Gyro. I mean, not really like wings spread out to like attack and claw somebody. It's just very chilled. He's got a rifle, right? This laser rifle here, which is cool, because the original vintage figure didn't come with any weapons. It came with like a stream of molecules, if I recall, but no weapons. So yeah, I mean, let me know what you think of Molecular. Overall, I would say that he's definitely essential if you need to complete your team of monsters mob. But to me personally, if you're kind of short on cash and you can only get a couple of figures, he's probably one that you might want to skip. Okay, next up on the list, we've got the half man, half bull, minotaur looking creature, Mumbo Jumbo. Mumbo Jumbo has always been one of the more visually interesting looking Silverhawks villains, and he's just this massive, hulking bull of a creature that, you just need a guy like this on your team, all right? He's like the muscle for Monstar. I've reviewed the classic vintage figure on the channel. Do check that out. And the classic vintage figure had a little bit of a gimmick to him, in which the head could sort of like it had a head butting action. But this new Super 7 Ultimate series doesn't have any of the gimmicks incorporated, but it does come with a lot of extras here to sort of like make up for that. Now, Mumbo Jumbo's got two head portraits here. The main one on the body looks a bit, it's a bit of a neutral expression. He kind of looks confused. And the alternate head here has him looking confused and angry, right? Like he's about to break out into a tantrum. But I don't have one. I mean, I don't see a version here where his head is just like screaming rage, like, like a screaming, raging bull. Yeah, maybe we need to get these figures in hand for a better look and a better review. But he's got like just two head portraits instead of three, like we've seen with the other figures. I'm not really sure what else they could have made his face look like, but probably one that looked a little bit more angrier would have been great. You do see that he's got some shackles here. Probably Monster needs to keep this bull chained. I'm not sure. He's got hands. He's got two versions of his bird companion, Ashok. Now, I have reviewed the classic figure, and the Ashok figure, as I recall, well, all of the Kenner vintage, the weapon birds for the vintage Silverhawks figures didn't really have a lot of detail to them. This one here, Ashok, has a more animated sort of like expression to his face. You can see his eyeballs there. He kind of looks like an angry bird, like the Angry Birds. And there's another version of him in fully weaponized combat mode with his wings sort of like pivoted forward, all right? And I suppose this is to mimic him sort of like creating the air turbulence effect. Pretty cool, I guess. Pretty simplistic looking too. And you will notice that Mumbo Jumbo comes with a pretty small laser handgun, all right? I suppose that this is just a interesting visual device. You have a huge hulking figure and holding a tiny little gun, right? That's got to stand out, right? Okay, lastly, we've got the team's head honcho, Commander Stargazer. Now, I actually have the vintage Commander Stargazer figure. I've not reviewed him on the channel yet. So, hey, guys, why don't you just drop me a reminder in the comment section if you want to see that happen? Just say, hey, Ken, get down to reviewing that Commander Stargazer vintage Kenner figure, and I'll get right down to it. But Commander Stargazer, he was pretty great on the cartoon, as I recall. He was always the guy you could rely on for some snarky, sarcastic lines. But as a toy, as a vintage toy in the original line, I'm not really sure if he was necessarily a character that your kids were clamoring to actually own for themselves. Like like if they were at the toy store and they would be like, yeah, definitely, I want that guy, all right, the bald guy with the long sleeve shirt and the tie and the pants and the suspender straps, all right. Yeah, I mean, he wasn't exactly the most visually interesting character in the original series, but oh boy, they have gone all out here with the Ultimates version. Now, Stargazer has got three head portraits here. The thing is, he's got one that's on his body here, and that one looks, he's got a pretty stern expression, as you'd expect Stargazer to have. And then you've got another one where he's a little bit more smirking, which you'd also expect his character to do on the cartoon show, smirking a lot and saying something pretty sarcastic at the Silverhawks. But then the other expression here is pretty, I can't really tell that expression apart from the one that's on his body here. It kind of looks like, I don't know, like he's just staring at you, maybe not smiling. I'm not sure, okay? I kind of think that, maybe that extra head wasn't necessary, We do have a bunch of hands, and then we got a great looking Slybird, right? This interpretation of Slybird is great. I love the freaking handheld, what's that, a flamethrower, rocket launcher, that thing just looks fantastic, because the original figure, as I recall, didn't have any weapon accessories, all right? But if he came with something like this, that would have just made him a whole lot more exciting. What do you guys think of Commander Stargazer? Let me know in the comments. Let me know as well what you guys think of these Wave 3 reveals for the Silverhawks. As I said, this is not a line I'm actually collecting. I did place a pre-order for the Ramen Toy version of Quicksilver because, that one just had this metallic finishing and it looked nice. And it just seemed to me like that one was going to be released pretty soon. So, and I think the price point was pretty okay. I got it on that pre-order thing, and that one actually had a pre-order price that was so much lower than what you'd end up paying for it at retail whenever it actually came out. So I'm not really sure whether this one has any incentive if you were to pre-order them early. But overall, just let me know what you guys think of this wave. I think that the Silverhawks is a line that I definitely enjoyed. The vintage incarnation of the Silverhawks is definitely very memorable to me. But it's not a franchise that I would say that I'm like freaking die-hard crazy for. It's like one of those things that I have nostalgic attachments to, but not like all out, like like how I feel about something like say He-Man or Mask or something like that. And I think that a lot of these figures, if there was a chance that they could somehow be released in a more commercial retail sense at a more affordable price point, like what we're getting with Masters of the Universe Origins, and they didn't have to make them, they don't got to make them so complicated. You could just have the figure with maybe one or two accessories, because honestly, I mean, how much can you do with these figures, right? But that's a discussion that I want to do for another video. But let me know what you guys think of the Silverhawks Wave 3. Let me know what you guys think of the Silverhawks in general. If you guys have been pre-ordering any of these waves, if you guys have pre-ordered anything from Ramontoy has announced the Quicksilver, and they have also put out a pre-order for Monster. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll catch you guys again real soon with more content. Thank you and take care.